It's going.
Oh, it's going?
Yeah.
So how you doing? How you doing tonight, Karn? I guess the first question that we would have for you is, how many votes did you cast for Trump? And
No, how many and also how many for Hillary?
I voted once for Hillary, and my pubic hairs voted twice for Trump.
Well, there you go. Now, was there? Did you get your car turned over, or were you set on fire, or
No.
did you have to kill anyone with a rock sword?
The funny thing is, most of the people on my Twitter feed were voting for Trump. That voting night, I had one person block me entirely who I was following and was following me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't have more, actually, because I was pretty outspoken about voting for Hillary. I never hid the fact, because there's there's Hannah, there's Witchy, there's a whole bunch of people on my channel who are total Trump supporters, right? Including Nick, who almost at the beginning of the thing said, if you're voting for Hillary, you can feel free to block me or unfollow me. I said, well, I'm voting for Hillary, but I'm not unfollowing you. Right. He goes, well, you're different.
I've had a couple of those exchanges actually on Facebook with people here. I've talked about it a few times. One friend in particular who was like, if you're voting for Trump or support Trump, then you're all of these things. And I don't want to know you anymore. Please delete me. To which I responded to, pull up your big girl pants and do it yourself. You don't want to know me, pull the trigger.
Nice. Pull up your big girl pants. It's funny.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for it. And every day there's more anti-Trump bullshit. Like, don't get me wrong. You don't have to like Trump. But as a white guy, I don't take responsibility for him. He's orange.
He's an orange guy.
He's an orange guy.
And you don't have any orange soda DNA in you.
No. I'm strictly a Coke drinker, but you don't have to like Trump, and you didn't have to vote for him. But the divide that happened here, I think, came mostly from the left, and I'm not saying that's universal. But I think a lot of the abuse that got tossed at people who were either okay with the idea of Trump or pro-Trump completely, they got beat up so bad.
Well, here's my problem, right? There's so much bullshit that they were saying about him. Like, oh, he hates women because he said the words grab a pussy. They're like, oh, I actually had this argument with a friend of mine from church, right? She goes, it's rape culture. I said, no, it's not. She goes, well, what's your definition for rape culture? I said, one, if it's accepted by culture, and two, if it's rape. It was none of those things.
Right.
He wasn't talking about rape culture. He was talking about celebrity culture. Because at no point in that conversation that happened, 10 years ago, did he say it was okay? He just said, when you're popular, you can get away with anything like grab a pussy.
Right.
Which George Takei, he posted on Twitter saying how Trump is, a horrible person and blah, 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 and, all these other shit. And then the Trump supporters posted pictures of him grabbing a dude's dick.
Right.
So I guess it's okay to grab a dick if you're a celebrity, but you can't grab a pussy. What the fuck are you talking about? Like seriously.
It's true.
Well, because he was talking about celebrity culture, not rape culture. Because when you're a celebrity and we let them do this, they get away with just about anything.
Man, I used to play hockey like a lot here, and I was good. Like I didn't play in anything major. Like I did some travel team stuff, but even local. Excuse me.
I'd say bless you, but
even local southwestern Ontario travel leagues. You had puck bunnies, man.
Puck bunnies?
Yeah, you never heard of puck bunnies?
That's an interesting term.
I can guess.
I think I think I have heard of the term before.
Puck bunnies, they're hockey groupies. Groupies. And these girls let you do anything. You'd be like, oh, you scored 6 goals tonight? Want to score one more time? Be like, yes.
No,
I'm 17.
because if
Yeah,
she's
yes.
even at 17, I'd have been like, no, because if you're just gonna screw with me, because I got 6, then who did you screw before for less? You can keep your gunocipher herbalates.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, the lies that were spread about Trump were one of the principal reasons why I just begged for him to win, because the protests that are happening now, as stupid as I think they are fucking music to my ears, man. Music. I'm sitting there watching these feeds, and then I'm seeing all these little SJWs posting, "Oh my God, this is such an assault to our American dignity."
It's the social justice warriors that pushed for the vote for Trump,
Right.
because they're so horrible. Right now, I get it. This is what I said. This is what I've been saying for months upon months upon months. Okay, this election was like choosing between dick cancer and ball cancer, and it's who's who is up to you, really.
Well, honestly, I'd rather take the ball cancer, because I could have one ball and still have my dick.
Well,
Unless you're saying that it's like both balls.
Yeah, it's both balls.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Well, see, here's the way I was thinking of it, right? The way I was thinking of it, it was like, well, with no testicles, you can still get a testosterone injection and possibly fuck.
Right.
When you don't have a dick, what are you gonna fuck with? So, I was thinking Trump was ball cancer and Hillary was dick cancer.
The response is,
or reverse. I mean,
I have been trying to I've been provoking people on and off during the election, but this is not a brag, and I'm not prophetic, but I read the signs of what was going on socially, the times that we're in, and I called this back in January. I'm not sure how far back you called this.
Oh, way back when I was in school, so.
Yeah, and even when the polls were all saying that he was going to lose, I was still confident. It didn't shake me at all. Like, this is ridiculous, the idea that she's going to come in and win when the situation in America is the way that it is.
Depending on who I was talking to.
You know what? It really could have gone. She could have landslided it. It was very possible. And if you looked at the actual voting numbers, she could have landslid. People's opinions could have gone just a little bit more to the left, and she'd have had a landslide in so many states.
Well,
she could have had Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, and Florida, and with that, it would have looked like a landslide.
So just let me quickly say the basis for my saying that is very different than that. I've taken on the mantra of single issue voting, and I didn't vote, obviously. I'm Canadian, for anyone who doesn't know, but that's the way I approach elections. Is I'm aware of all the issues, but I tend to focus on that kind of a perspective. So what I saw when I was looking at this election is that Americans have been losing their manufacturing jobs. When I drive in the States every week, it's through Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and back. And
you never stop by?
Well, I don't know what part of Ohio you live. Well, I'm paid by the hour now, anyways. I'm not allowed to stop by, but it's Ohio's not that far. Maybe I'll swim across the lake.
Oh yeah,
dude! I can see Canada from my window.
That's it. You're vice president worthy now.
That's another reason why I think Hillary lost. Fucking Sarah Palin lost the election for McCain by saying, "I can see Russia from my house," and Hillary lost it. And Hillary lost it by saying, "I can see Russia everywhere."
No. Well, here's the thing, though. She said she has foreign policy experience because she can say Russia, and Putin pops his head out like he's a fucking groundhog. Right? Like, that shit's so fucking stupid. That doesn't give you experience with dealing with leaders from other fucking countries.
Right. My basis for saying that I always felt Trump would win was the same reason why back when Obama gave his first big speech. I can't remember where it was, but he gave a speech in front of like a red brick building. I remember it. And it was the first time that I had ever heard him publicly speak. And I saw how the crowd responded to him. And I looked at my parents and I said, that guy right there is going to be president of the United States. And my parents looked at me and went, wouldn't that be great if they elected the first black man? But no, America's not ready. And I'm like, you watch. That man is going to be the next president of the United States. Now, my method isn't necessarily 100% accurate, but it's worked so far. And that is follow the energy of the people. Hillary Clinton couldn't fill a shoe store, and Trump was filling stadiums. And even though it looks like she won the popular vote, I would contend that there was a lot of tomfoolery going on in some of the states where he was really popular, and that there's probably a lot of votes for him that didn't count. So I'm not convinced that he didn't win the popular vote as well.
So, someone was talking about how there was like intentional voting fraud, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, the first place this like happened to was in Texas. Like Texas going for Hillary, like in the middle of counting the votes, someone will be like, "Now hold on a damn minute."
Right.
You think that it was fishy that Texas was going for Hillary?
No, well, yeah. If
Well,
Texas starts going towards Hillary, someone would have noticed something right here.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Maybe not Texas, or maybe not Dallas, or like a city part, but the whole of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not.
But I just mean there were people caught on film, especially in those O'Keefe tapes.
Someone uses film now.
What?
He's joking about your there.
It's
It's all digital, man.
digital on the recording, whatever you want.
Track and
Yeah.
reel to reel.
On the video that was captured by the
Okay,
O'Keefe guys, that essentially they had people caught on camera admitting that they were destroying ballots for Trump. So if that was happening in a couple of different places, and then you had a couple of cameras that showed elections officials wearing Never Trump shirts, and depending on where these were taking place and in the big cities, I am not convinced that Trump didn't get more votes than Hillary. I'm not. But it doesn't matter, because his election is the fifth or sixth election where you've won the presidential seat by electoral vote, but not the popular vote.
Yeah.
So they can protest all the fuck they want. It's not the last time it's going to happen.
I just want to quickly say hey to Feta. How you doing, man? Oh, your microphone's not quite working, right?
Can you hear me there?
I can hear you now. Perfect.
How are you doing, guys?
I just had a horrible idea. If I was to run one of the tables at the voting places, the perfect thing to wear would be the "I'm with her" T-shirt with the "Make America Great Again." People wouldn't know what the fuck to think. Anyone asks me who I'm voting for, I'd say Cthulhu, obviously.
Oh, right.
I just need one more shard / T-shirt.
Yeah, but now these fucking social justice warriors, regressives, whatever you want to call them, they are losing their minds. It's funny to watch, but they want the Electoral College to switch their vote, and they've got this change.org thing happening. And I got into a bit of a heated exchange with one of them on Facebook, and I'm like, that is the dumbest fucking idea ever. And they're like, why?
No, California trying to leave and be in its own country is one of the dumbest fucking things ever.
That is a close second, but here's why. At least California leaving would be humorous, because they don't have enough water to they don't have enough water to grow food for everyone there. But even worse is that if you try and flip the vote from the will of the Electoral College, you're going to have a revolt on your hands. And then all of these city dwellers are going to come face to face with the harsh reality of war. Siege tactics. The farmers are going to stop sending them food. And the guys who mine their coal, who keep their fucking lights on, are going to stop doing that. And then in about 14 days, when they run out of food and everything is spoiled on the shelves of their supermarkets, they're going to come stumbling out, lost and disoriented, into the fucking wilderness that is rural America, where everyone's a gun-loving Second Amendment guy.
So that you were watching the election. Now, if I remember correctly, you live in Canada, right?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Who are you talking to?
Talking to Feta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. What did you ask?
I asked, you live in Canada, if I remember correctly, right? Is that right?
Yes, I live in Canada and in the current year.
In the current year.
I actually was browsing because I did a little bit of friendly trolling today. You know, Girl Writes What, right?
Yep.
And she posted a video today about the Donald Trump thing, being like, I don't know if any of you watched that video, but she was talking about whatever, like, how obvious it was going to be that the media was wrong, and how is it that they lost because the media was with Hillary, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I just decided to let her know what I really think, right? By the way, she's a friend of mine, so she knows, so it's fine. So I wrote this. I want to know how many troll points do you guys would give this comment, okay? I did my best, so please don't abuse me.
Okay.
I wrote, what an ugly, cis, straight, white fascist you turned out to be. Why not defend a sexist, racist, xenophobic, homophobic, ableist rapist? Hillary just wanted to protect us from evil. Love Trump's hate. Hashtag not my president. I look up to, don't laugh, this is serious. I look up to the day when POC will take over and end this corrupt capitalist system, and white males will be put in camps as they deserve for all the systematic oppression, the glass ceiling, patriarchy, rape culture imposed on all the poor trans women, trans men, minorities, and Muslims of the world. This video is highly problematic and triggers me deeply. I'm literally shaking right now. Your freedom of speech is not your freedom to hate. You should have the right to say whatever you want, but not when that means endangering the lives of minorities for the benefit of a millionaire rape apologist. Shame on you, scum. If you decide to respond, coward, my preferred noun is C, FYI. This is my way of, actually, ironically, this is my way of celebrating, by the way.
That was really good. That was really good.
Well, I've been hearing this shit for months, so I accumulated it, and I just wanted to put myself in their shoes. You gotta be empathetic on these times of, when they're suffering so much.
I'm thinking about designing a T-shirt that just has all of the insults on the back. Like, if you haven't been called all the names on the back, you're not a good person.
No.
Racist, sexist, misogynist.
Oh fuck! I forgot to call her deplorable.
What you need is shirt SJW bingo.
I just remember that in all that comment, I forgot to call her deplorable. The most important insult.
Well, you said it in so many words.
It encapsulates the entire.
I could just written deplorable. That's it.
We better be careful because it might be illegal to troll soon in Canada.
No kidding. Oh, jeez.
Freaking.
I'm pretty sure it's hate speech. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure it's getting pretty damn close. Like with Bill C-16 coming up soon, we won't be able to call people whatever we want, even though I should. And they got them.
But if you're gonna troll, you gotta troll pretending to be one of them.
Right.
If that's you, then it's not hate speech. It's love speech.
It's love speech.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get everyone to get on board with this whole quote the Quran thing.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, well, this is my little pushback because the Canadian government just passed a motion that makes it so that it's not a law yet, as far as I know. I think this is just the first step in the government showing solidarity with Muslim Canadians, but that they frown down upon people who discriminate, hate, even though we already have laws that cover this, or show dislike towards Muslims or Islam. So I'm like, really? You're going to, because you know where this is going. Now they're going to pass a law against it. So it's going to be a blasphemy law by any other name.
Did you guys hear about this whole Jordan Peterson situation?
Absolutely, we did.
That's so disgusting. And that guy is such a hero, by the way. I hope nothing happens to him.
I don't think anything's going to happen to him. What are they going to do? Drown him with their tears?
It's like the cigarette smoking man always said about Mulder.
Well, according to Jordan, if Bill 616 is approved and he refuses to refer to people as whatever pronouns they choose, they will fine him. And if they fine him, he won't pay the fine. And then they will jail him, and then he will go to hunger strike.
I'm right there with him. Look, I have no problem with, and I think we covered this on a previous show that Dragonbeard and I did, but I'll say it again. It's time for people who are for freedom of speech to take a stand for freedom of speech. All right? Now, I'm not going to go out into the streets and weep into a camera while taking a selfie while burning a garbage can saying, "Not my president." I'm simply going to do what I always do, and that is speak my mind. And if I get in trouble for it, if one of these videos is pulled up, then so be it. But if somebody comes to me and asks me, "Hey, my name is Tim. I used to be Sheila. Now can you call me a he?" If it's done in an organic way where it's like a mutual respect is established, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem.
I like to go to the worst possible scenarios that they paint. So let's say that they paint you as transphobic and that you won't refer to them as they want. Let's say that you are transphobic, right? So
Yeah.
what? You don't have the right to be transphobic? What the fuck? Why don't you have the right to think and feel whatever the fuck you want?
Right. Because they're trying to force conformity of thought and conformity of speech, and
Okay.
I won't do it.
So here's the thing. I posted this comment on YouTube saying that I identify as a trans deity. I have supernatural powers and I can prove it. For example, every time I go to the beach, I can make the tide come in. Let that one sink in there for a minute. I said, and if you don't worship me, then you are oppressing me because you're not recognizing my trans deity, me as a trans deity.
Right.
Now, someone responded to me saying, "Okay, so there's no proof, right, that someone is actually the gender that they, quote unquote, identify with. Like, but what you said, your analogy was complete crap, and blah blah blah." I said, "Well, dude, if you can be if you can be a trans gender and you can be transracial, right, just by adding some more makeup onto your face, why can't I be trans deity?"
Right.
Doesn't the same rules apply? As long as I identify as something, I get to claim I'm that thing.
Because feelings is all that matters.
And
my dick's feeling was that it gets consent from everyone and everything.
Right.
So you're oppressing my dick by not saying yes.
Hey, the World Health Organization, I think, is going to classify not finding a mate as a disorder or disability.
Woohoo! Check.
I know, right? So I'm wondering if that works also for married men who can't get their wives to put out. I'm just wondering.
I actually have a video where I talk where this really stupid fucking feminist was telling me how financial abuse was a real thing.
It is. It's usually women doing it, though.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is
that's the problem is that they always say that the man's the one doing it. Trust me, I know for a fact women can do it.
Yeah, well, hold on. Now I know what you're talking about, Mr.
Yeah.
Dragonbeard. I know what you're talking about. But the definition she posted, that's not what you're talking about.
What was she thinking about?
Anytime you withhold, like, okay, so in your situation, I believe that she divorced you and took a lot of your money, and it took a lot for you to pay the courts just to see your kid, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, what she's talking about is when you're in a relationship, in a marriage, right, still together, and you hide or don't disclose your full financial income.
Well,
so if you have like a bank account or something, based on the definition she posted, if you have a bank account that your wife doesn't know about, that's financial abuse.
That's bullshit.
Oh, is that you?
What?
The mist?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. For a second there, I was like, was my computer on fire?
No, wait.
It could be both.
That was your vape. That was your vape, right?
No.
No? Is something on fire?
Yeah, it's just dust going in front of your light. It's just your light's so damn bright.
Yeah, it's kind of
bright
blinding.
light.
Okay, so I don't think anything's on fire. Thank you. So what I was thinking of though is when you wield it as a weapon, as an abusive weapon, it's really a type of emotional
To
abuse
hurt someone, yeah.
So, for instance, if the partner essentially starts into a fit in public or around your kids whenever they don't get control of the money, and then meets it out in a really cruel way in order to control you, either partner can do that, and it's not. I don't think it's very common when you call it like being a jerk with money is one thing. Abuse, I think, is more rare. And that's what I was thinking.
Well, she kept saying, "Well, these guys, they don't let the women out of the house." I'm like, "What guys?" Like she kept making up all these fictional fucking stories and case scenarios about people, and then like she just ran with it. She was confusing regular abuse, and she was conflating regular abuse and financial abuse because everything she described was regular abuse. It had nothing to do with finances.
It was the pancake patriarchy.
Huh?
It was a patriarchy.
Okay.
I was trying to fit pancakes in there.
It didn't work.
Because they're yummy.
You need to go to Anton and apologize. Really lame jokes that nobody gets is his forte.
So, I see this election.
I actually have a question for you guys about atheism is unstoppable, because I was thinking about it. Do you know that YouTuber, right? He's pretty popular. I don't know.
Oh, the guy who has the kangaroo for.
Yeah.
Yes. Like any of you know a little bit about him, or?
Yeah, he got into a lot of fights with fellow skeptics or whatnot because he.
With Sargon Fakal about this whole thing, and I was wondering because this guy is so on point on so many issues, but somehow he's a Hillary supporter. I don't get it. I'm trying to figure it out, but every time that you try to talk to him about it, he either blocks you or whatever. So I was wondering, because he's pretty popular, maybe one of you knew about him and we could discuss.
I know of him, but I basically kept my distance from him because he spazzes out on everybody.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Atheism unstoppable. The first time I heard him getting into all kinds of fights was when he's doxing people.
Yeah, he does that.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those polarized people, you know what I mean? Like when he does, in my opinion at least, when he does good videos, they are like really good videos. And then he can be so wrong at the same. That's the thing with passionate people, right? You either agree with them or disagree with them about. And I'm kind of in the middle. But I don't understand the mental contradiction of the guy to support so many things that are okay. So she supports Hillary, and at the same time she supports the police, for example, and he talks about like against Black Lives Matter, for example, or the Young Turks, right? So it's like, how can you know?
Well, it's the old thing about it's easier to see other people's inconsistencies than your own.
I guess, yeah.
His passion has blinded him completely in his areas because you use the word passion, but I would say that the guy is like he's not just a rolling stone. He's like a lightning bolt. He just won't stop once he gets going. He doesn't think,
and to me, it's like if the guy was critical of Trump, no problem, you know? Like, I don't think Trump is perfect. I don't think anyone thinks Trump is perfect. So, whatever.
I've yet to meet one of those.
In favor of Hillary at the same time. That's the thing I don't understand. That part I don't get that.
We've been talking about this though for a while. You got people like Sargon, who's not pro-Trump, but definitely not pro-Hillary.
Best choice,
right? But then you got someone like Thunderfoot and Aaron Ra. I watched Aaron Ra's live stream through like 7 hours through the election. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched it off and on, and my God. This is a guy who says if you can't show it, you don't know it in one video. And then when he's talking about Trump, he's like, they just elected a child rapist as president. It's like, dude, really?
Yeah.
Your standard of evidence is so inconsistent.
The thing is the most retarded accusation level at him because, I mean, the video is pretty famous now that he says, the famous words, when you're famous or whatever, they let you do whatever, they let you grab them by the pussy, whatever. But the keywords are right there. They let you. there is consent given. What the fuck?
Right.
Like, how can anyone say, "Oh no, he promotes sexual assault"?
Well, even if they were, I mean, then charge them with it.
Yeah.
You know, do something about it then. And if they have evidence for it, then that's fine. You know, then present your evidence. I'm not opposed. I am not so entrenched in the idea of Trump being the president that if they didn't if they brought forward evidence tomorrow that he actually did something to a 13-year-old girl or sexually assaulted a woman and it was provable, I would abandon ship, man.
Yeah.
I'm out. Fuck that. Okay, he's a horrible person. Throw him behind bars. You know, but it didn't seem to matter what people said about Hillary. They could say she stole the election from Bernie or the primary from Bernie. Well, that doesn't matter. She has done this crime. Here are the federal statutes or whatever they are fucking called that she violated. That doesn't matter. You just hate women. What?
The funny thing is, she's married to, I don't know if you're a rapist, but at least a womanizer. She's defended him vehemently against other women coming, trying to accuse him, and she has intimidated them. She has defended a convicted rapist in the past and set him free, and then laughed about it, and it was.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, the things that we do
like,
are horrific.
They just
and if I was a feminist, thank God for that I'm not. But if I was one, and a sensible feminist, I would, be so pissed at Hillary Clinton.
Right.
I just figured I'd share this little picture here. What do you think of that? You see it?
Science can get along with talent, but art requires genius.
It's a little Will Durant quote that I figured that Thunderfoot would love. My issue with these guys, here, I'll stop doing that. My issue with these guys is not that they're pro-Hillary, I don't even know if they're necessarily pro-Hillary, but that they.
I was just anti-Trump.
Yeah, that they shit on people in such a way that's not. If you think Trump is a better choice, then according to Thunderfoot, you're a moron. It's that simple. You're stupid, and you should be derided for it. Now, I'm fine with joking around about stuff. Maybe sometimes I take it a little bit far, but I don't look at Hillary supporters as all evil and stupid.
Yeah,
I think they're wrong.
Like me and
they think that I'm wrong.
Karn and I have disagreed on Twitter. I don't know if you remember that, but we went back and forth about Trump and Hillary, didn't we, Karn?
Who are you on Twitter?
Smashlock.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We definitely have.
Right, but aside from the fact that you're a ginormous cuck, I don't call you a moron.
No, in order to be a cuck, I have to have a wife or at least a girlfriend.
Not anymore. Apparently, in the current year, you can be a cuck just for disagreeing.
Ugh, people don't know how to use the word right.
Well, I'm just using the common usage of it.
I thought even if you're a right winger or a conservative or whatever, you're anti-Trump, you're already a cuck. You don't have to. Anyone that's not for Trump, even if you're not American.
I'm against using nuclear weapons for a better economy.
Why? You could sell those for a premium.
No. He was talking about using them. He was saying nuclear war is good for the economy. Well, I'm like, oh no, that's really, really bad. I'm against even nuclear power plants. So nuclear bombs are like 10 times worse.
Well,
unless of course you live in Japan.
Is there a possibility that he misspoke, or because he does that?
No.
No.
Just flat out I'm pretty sure he didn't misspeak at all.
I don't know the context.
There's a lot of other things that he said, like okay, if you look at the fact checkers, he has least facts than any other.
Are you talking about PolitiFact?
1 second, guys. Just can you see the picture there? I want to take it down.
Hungry, please help. God bless you.
Yeah. Know your place, fucking Trump voting peasant scum. Silence, Sir Thunderfoot, the Council of Superiors.
Okay, who's the guy on? Hold on, what's this? This is the right of Thunderfoot.
That's okay. We got Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins up there in the ivory tower with him. Because they all had the same kind of snotty attitude. It's not it's not merely one of disagreement, but it really is superiority, and it really bothered me.
That should be a movie title: The Council of Superiors versus the Basket of Deplorables. Good versus evil, love versus hate.
Yeah, that's probably one of the few videos Thunderfoot made that I didn't even watch. The one we were talking about, like, because I know fucking Trump's.
Yeah, because I got an idea of what that one. I didn't either, because I can pretty much assume what it's going to be. Hillary's a better choice. You're kind of stupid if you don't know that.
Trump says so many ridiculously stupid shit, though.
He's
goddamn.
He's
Was he just pandering, or is he legitimately this stupid?
He's branding, dude.
No.
Well, even okay.
I think most politicians are as stupid as the guy. The difference is the guy has no filter. So it's like when he comes in front of the camera, it's like the same guy that is behind the camera. While Hillary comes forth, she's like this program politician that Goldman Sachs told what to say and whatever. You know what I mean?
Did you guys hear what Penn Jillette had to say about him?
Oh my God. You know what? Penn Jillette is a guy that I enjoy in many ways, but he is a blowhard. He loves to talk about himself all the fucking time. Holy shit. So how would he like it if somebody that worked with him on the crew, and he decided he was going to run for office for some reason, and the guy just came out and went, I'm not a dick or anything, but this guy is a piece of shit. You think he's a piece of shit, but he's way more of a piece of shit. Trust me. I'm not just, spreading rumors and talking shit about people. Like,
I think Penn Jillette would be fine with that. Because he says, look, what he actually said was he likes Trump. He thinks he's a really good person.
But he doesn't.
But he's a nutcase.
I call bullshit on that, man. He doesn't like him at all. It's fucking obvious. He was
on the show twice.
No, he has worked with him before. That's a business venture. He is being dishonest either to himself or straight up with us. If he says all that,
don't think he is.
He says all that nasty shit about someone. He's like, but I like him. He's be like, yeah,
but he didn't say nasty thing.
There's this dude.
He didn't say nasty thing. He said he's. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I saw him talking about it, man. Like, and he straight up says, you think he's a piece of shit, but he's worse than you think. He's more of a piece of shit than you. It was nasty, what I saw.
I don't remember him saying that. I saw him make at least 3 different videos where he's talking about Trump. And all of them, he says he's a nice guy. I like him. He's really cool, but he's crazy, right? Like, he's a clown. I don't think he'd make a very good president. But he likes the guy. He was talking about his personality. He likes hanging out with him and stuff. But
well, maybe I'm.
You know what would be awesome? So think about it. When he announced that he was running for president before the primaries, everyone was saying he'll never win the Republican nomination. And he did. Now everyone is saying he will never become president, and he did. Now everyone is saying he won't be a good president, and let's say that he is. Then he will be like, I want the world. I'll
say this.
And then he will become the whole fucking emperor of the world. And then he will be a good emperor of the world.
He'll never be the first man to colonize another planet.
Jesus came back, man. He's Jesus. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Orange, all right?
Your hate only makes him stronger.
Now I can see it playing out. That's the only reason Jesus comes back from the dead is because someone said, dude, you'll never be able to come back from the dead. And he's like, oh, really?
I will come back, and it will be tremendous.
I will say this, though. I want to say this, though. Trump was more gracious winning the election than the social justice warriors were losing it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was going to say before, for me, I do the one issue. I'm a single issue voter now. That's just my mindset. So when I was looking at this, even though I'm not voting in it, for me, the issue that became the most clear to me is the same in Canada, actually, is about attacks on personal liberty, which is all surrounded in this identity politics shit. So the one I would have cast my vote for would be the one most likely to fight it. And even though none of them have like directly stated that they would fight it, Trump is the only one likely because he's constantly under attack by those people.
Right. Now, he does sue people who say mean things about him. So, I mean, he does have that against him in that arena.
That's true.
But,
well, I think it's, you know what? If a bunch of people just decided to make up shit about him raping them during the election, I think that if he can prove they made it up, they deserve to be fucking sued.
right, but I mean that whole Bill Maher, him and an orangutan, your mom's an orangutan, and he's like, my mom's not an orangutan. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, dude, are you stupid?
He does get a little butthurt about that sort of thing. It is his mom.
See, that was kind of worrying me though, because like the moment another like leader history insults him anyway, we're like going to go straight to fucking war.
I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is that I think that Trump has learned a bit of stagemanship over his time, both on TV and just being a business person. And a person, like, anyone can argue with me if they want that he's not a successful businessman, but I think they'd lose that argument. Because even though he's managed to lose $1 billion in a year, I don't know a bank on Wall Street that didn't lose a bundle of fucking money in the crash, or I don't know any bank or any construction company that ever hasn't done something wonky on their taxes. The fact of the matter is that the man is got a sizable fortune, and he builds things, and he's been doing it for 40 years. You don't do that if you lose money at everything you do.
Well, but also, the left did this.
You also have to look at his starting point too, though, because a businessman who takes $40,000 and turns it into millions of dollars, right? That's a considerable leap. That's someone who did something really fucking smart. He started out right with the best education money can buy, quite literally.
Yeah.
Which,
and then
by
he
the
had
way,
$15 million to fuck around with.
No, and he started. I think he inherited like $500 million from his father, but then he turned it into billions of dollars. So I do believe that he can make money grow, and I also personally believe, based on what I saw from the guy, that, well, first of all, yeah, like you were saying, you cannot be a businessman without knowing what you're doing at least a little bit. And furthermore, you cannot be a businessman if you don't get along with people and you don't know how to get along with people, even people who oppose you or who criticize you.
Well, you can if you're a con artist.
Well, okay, but there's no...
Okay, but even if he was a con artist, I think that he has this ability to be diplomatic, if you will. So, for example, today he reunited with Obama, fucking Obama that he talked shit about, and Obama talked shit about him. And they were today like all smiles and giggles. He will get along with Putin way better than Hillary would have.
Hold on, I want to address that point real quickly. Okay, so you talk about them getting along, and I mentioned a minute ago about him being a more gracious winner. I think as soon as he won, someone had a serious conversation, or he got a very important phone call where someone straightened him the fuck out. Like, because this seems to happen with like every president, right? Like they say they're going to do all these things, and then something just changes about him.
Yeah, but he did the same with the other Republicans, for example, that he went to the mat with, and then after he won the Republican nomination, he was all like friendly and shit.
Well, that's because he needed their endorsement.
The guy does what he needs to do when he's your opponent, but after he wins, he doesn't need to continue punching. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem that the left had here is they did this to themselves.
Yeah, I'll agree to that one.
Every criticism they try to lob at him, Hillary was worse at. Right? So they're like, well, he's a corrupt businessman because he gets out of taxes. It's like Hillary's foundation, Hillary herself, Hillary's the people that give her money.
The fact that her fucking daughter's wedding dress was paid for by charity money.
Saudi Arabia, all these different countries and stuff that are giving her money, like and her husband, and it's like every single moral mountain they tried to stand on,
he just swept it up from under them.
And then whenever the question turned back around them, like just naturally turned back to them because they brought it up. They were like, "Oh well, it doesn't matter with her. It doesn't matter with her. It's still fine." Like it's like, well, she's the one taking all like massively amounts of more special interest money from companies and groups and nations outside the country. He's not taking nearly as much. Oh well, that's fine when she does it. It's like,
He had
make up your mind, people.
brilliant comeback to her on the third debate, which in my opinion was his best debate, in which she was like, "Oh, you use some, some legal shortcut in order to avoid paying so much taxes, or you did that." And then he was like, "Those were laws that you never opposed."
Yeah.
And I took advantage for those, but I was a businessman. You were a politician. What did you do about it? And she
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
so beautiful.
So who are the people who put those loops in? Let's see now. Who was sitting in the Senate when some of those went in? Who could have opposed them in the Senate? Oh, gee.
Okay, like that's an actually valid point. Now, one of the things that I thought were invalid points, right? Like Gamergate kept tweeting out, like, "Oh, she tried to make video games illegal. She tried to make video games illegal. She tried to criminalize video games." I'm like, so I looked up what the fuck he was talking about. In 2003, she puts up a thing. So, like, if a game has mature or like X-rated, that if you sell it to a child, the person who sells it gets fined like $500 or $1,000, right? So basically, what they're trying to curb is pornographic material in video games just being able to be handed over to, let's say, a 12-year-old with some cash.
Yeah.
Right? So I can kind of see that, because don't they do that with cigarettes and dirty magazines, quote-unquote dirty magazines?
Yeah, I don't know. I was not aware of anything where she was trying to outlaw games. She is generally someone who has no problem squashing dissent, though. So maybe that's what made them nervous.
I don't know if she tried to pass any legislation, but she did publicly say that she thought, in the past, right? She did publicly say that she thought that video games and violence were correlated.
They're not, but
No, of
Well,
course.
saying that you think they're correlated and saying that that she's trying to criminalize games is two different things, though. That's a few.
I don't know
because people had that same thought about like music and movies and everything else, like watching violent movies is going to make violent or whatever.
Comic
Yeah.
books are
But
different.
here's my total disprovement of that, right? And it all starts with James Taylor. Now, in Cleveland back in 2005, at least I'm pretty sure it was 2005, James Taylor came to Cleveland. He had a concert. After the concert, this guy is walking by with a picnic basket. A picnic basket in 2005. Like, wow, dude. Be done being a hippie already. And his picnic basket brushes up against this guy's car. Now, this guy loses his shit and beats the crap out of him.
Whoa.
Right? At a James Taylor, if you can get violent at a James Taylor concert, I'm sorry, but the violence is already in you. And this guy was an off-duty police officer that did the beating up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that made big, huge news. So yeah, if you can get violent at a James Taylor concert, there's no fucking music that's gonna make you fucking violent. Right? It's James fucking Taylor.
I think we should ban James Taylor music immediately.
Yeah, I never would have really even jumped on the whole Hillary banning video games. There was so many other things wrong with Hillary. Like me. Go ahead.
Gamergate unfollowed me for like coming out publicly saying I'm going to vote for Hillary.
Yeah, well, I don't unfollow people for stuff like that. I know
it seems so stupid to me. Like just because someone disagrees with you, you can't follow them.
I'll confess there is one person I blocked during this whole thing just after the election, but it's because they accused me in a post of being a rapist because they're mad at me. So
what?
They're just mad and they're just like, you're a rapist. And I was like, did you excuse me? Well, they did it in a roundabout way, like that I had rape equipment near my bed in case I need to rape a woman. And then I was...
What the fuck is rape equipment?
Some kind of a rape mask and a brick, I guess, for hitting them, I guess.
Well, if they're in your bed, they know who you are.
That doesn't mean that
really bad equipment.
That doesn't mean that they want it.
You lead them to your bedroom, and once they're there...
Then you hit them with a brick. Put on your rape
Too
mask.
late now.
We gotta stop with all these rape jokes because we'll get in trouble, right? You know,
YouTube is listening.
I know. What was it? My buddy told me the worst rape joke. He says, "Go up to your wife, look her right in the eyes, and say, 'Hey, do you want to play rape?'" And then I said, "I already know she's going to say no." And then he says, "That's when you look her right back in the eye and go, 'That's the spirit.'"
You got that from Bob.
My favorite is when a liberal, like a politically left person, starts saying, getting on their high horse, very pompous about the way you can joke, what you can joke about, what you can't. I love the 4-minute clip from YouTube. I throw it on there from George Carlin because he's like a high priest to these guys, and he says straight up, yes, you can joke about rape jokes, and not only that, he goes after people for thinking that they can tell you what to joke about.
Yep.
They forget all this, though. They forget about Hitchens. They forget about his principles. They forget about George Carlin and the things that he thought about.
That's
the political conspiracies and things like that.
Did by any chance did you guys see our thing where we went after Sam Harris about saying he tried to tell people that he thought Hitchens would vote for Hillary?
Yeah, I heard it.
Sam who?
Sam Harris. Sam Harris. He's that guy with the ginormous ears that he used to glide from mountaintop to mountaintop, and he just floats up there in the clouds going...
This is the thing that immediately separates from the Four Horsemen. Besides being dead, that's also a thing that separates Hitchens from.
But like, really, who is he? Because I know the name, but I can't quite.
Well, Harris, he's a neurologist
Or neuroscientist, one of the Four Horsemen, as he was saying.
Yeah, and he is brilliant, but it's when it comes to politics, his brains fall out of his head. I don't know what's. He's human. You know.
See, I would have voted for Kasich over Hillary.
What about Bernie?
No, never Bernie. Never fucking Bernie.
Never Bernie?
Never Bernie. I'm sorry, I can't vote for some retard from Vermont.
If
If you've ever lived in Vermont, you know what I'm fucking talking about.
I've never lived in Vermont. Me?
Okay. I'm gonna put it so you can understand it. Okay, imagine living with Anita Sarkeesian, only 1,000 times worse.
Sounds fun.
Dude, I live in...
That's how the level of fucking stupid Vermont is. They have a law. They made it a state law making it illegal to whistle while underwater.
I live in Canada, but I'm originally from South America, and I can tell you from personal experience, socialism doesn't work. Ever.
Well, I can tell that from history books. Because I do things like read. So
no, I'm just saying. I think Bernie would have actually had a shot against Trump. Is my point.
I think he had more. That's one of the things I talk to my left leaning friends about is that that one thing I do feel their pain about is that what happened to so many of those followers of his were particularly young and enthusiastic. You could say naive. I definitely would.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a party attack their own most motivated, like basically the future of their party.
Yeah.
I would have voted for Trump if that were the case.
Really? Okay, Karn, you got to help me understand this now. All right? Please help me understand this. And this isn't an attack. Bernie, you may disagree with him. You may think he's an idiot from Vermont, but he had the election stolen from him. He had the primary stolen from him in the most vicious takeover that could be imaginable, led by a cabal under the control or at least in favor of Hillary.
It was an actual conspiracy.
This is fact. And yet you would have cast your ballot for a cheater, but not Trump. But if the guy who won it fair and square that is in the party that apparently I think you kind of lean towards, you'd be like, no, he's an idiot from Vermont. I'm going to vote for the idiot from New York. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
And by the way, the guy is healthier than Hillary as well, which is ironic. Skeletor. I mean, the guy is older than planet Earth.
But you can tell because he waved his arms around it. I'm going to give everyone a car from rich people.
At least he doesn't fall down.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. First of all, I keep hearing this stole the primary from Bernie. I haven't seen any evidence of that. I've seen people make the claim and they post stuff, but like, I've been falling asleep at like almost as soon as I get home from work, and just I woke up 4 minutes prior to getting that note from Dragonbeard in my message thing.
Yeah.
And there's only so much time, right, in the day, so I haven't actually looked into that and seen how much of that is legit or not.
Okay.
But to answer your question, why I wouldn't vote for Bernie? Well, first of all, how can I vote for Bernie? According to him, I don't even exist.
Right.
You don't exist because what? You're a white man.
He said white people don't know what it's like to live in the ghetto, so apparently I don't exist. I was homeless in Cincinnati. Downtown Cincinnati. After the race riot.
Either you don't
Okay, well,
you're not white, you just think you're white.
Well, I'm white-ish.
White is a state of mind.
White is a state of white is a state of hatred. Okay.
That's right.
It's
Perpetual hatred and superiority.
Okay, well, let's just role play here or scenario, like put out a scenario. If, for sake of argument, you knew for a fact that the claims that the election was the primary was rigged against Bernie,
right,
by people that were colluding with Hillary to make sure that she was the nominee.
Right.
Would you?
Assuming I know that for a fact, I still wouldn't vote for Bernie.
Oh, no. But okay, if you knew that was a fact, and Bernie still lost, and Hillary was the nominee, would you still vote for Hillary, knowing she did that?
Yeah.
Knowing she cheated.
Hillary over Trump? Yeah, I still would have.
Wow.
What he's asking is
because I know she's crooked as shit, right? I've been saying this the whole fucking process here. So I know she's crooked as shit, but I also know he's crooked as shit, and I think he's worse. Based on the things I've heard him say and the things I've seen him do and everything else, I think he's worse. Because at least she has experience, right? Being a politician, he has no experience.
Yeah,
which you could argue is a benefit because he's not corrupted by the political system, right? He can't be bought by people who he doesn't owe favors to.
So for me, when this started, I had no respect for Trump. I don't really respect anyone with a reality television show as a general rule. But he was a joke. I didn't even think he was seriously running. But back in January, something clicked with me. And this is the way I've kind of been lately. People will bring issues to me that I'm not even really, considering. So what happened with Trump is people kept saying this nasty shit about him. So I'm a skeptic by heart now, right? I do this all the time. So I started thinking about these issues and actually looking into them. And I started finding that the stuff people would say about him were always the worst interpretation possible. Always the absolute fucking worst. So the example I'll use is the issue with the judge, the Mexican-American judge. So he's the particulars of the case aren't important. He's before a judge. He has a case going on. And when he comes out, at some point he says to the media, I don't think this judge he should have recused himself. I don't think he can be fair here because he is a Mexican-American judge and he can't be impartial because of my stance on immigration. Something to that effect. I think I probably stated it better than him just now.
Okay.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, essentially. I got you.
So the media grabs that, runs with it, doesn't do any other research, no other discussion. All the major media just keeps playing this over and over again. And the thing that they say is he's a bigot, he's a racist. Okay, so you look into it a little bit. That's what I finally did. And the reason he was making this statement was because this judge belongs to some type of community legal group, legal advisory.
La Raza.
Yeah. And there's a dispute now as to whether this group really is anti-Trump or not. So the reason that I call this the worst possible interpretation is even rather than saying Trump believed that, but he was mistaken, they don't say that. They say he knew it wasn't true and he's a liar and a racist. Like, that is not the way that we conduct ourselves in intelligence circles. That's my thought on that.
What about
again and again and again and again?
What about intelligent triangles?
Are they pink triangles? because
No!
believe
Pink is evil. Look, the only time pink is not evil is when it's on a panther.
Or between her legs.
the fact that
No, it's still evil. It's just you're accepting conditions.
One of the criticisms that's always leveraged against Trump is that he doesn't have experience and that he's a millionaire, so he probably won't care about the people. But when you think about it, I think this is the perfect combo for the probable outcome that he's doing it just because he wants glory. And but if he wants glory, and the way to attain glory is to be a good president, not a bad one, a good one, and he doesn't need money, obviously,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have experience, so probably he wasn't corrupted yet by the system. I mean, he was either a corrupt businessman that got all the money already and doesn't want any more money and he wants glory, or he's not corrupt yet, which is also a good case scenario. So it's all positive in my opinion. I'm Argentinian. We had a socialist president that destroyed the country the last 8 years until a businessman, he was a businessman his whole life, very rich guy, not as rich as Trump, of course, but very rich and very successful, who became first mayor of the main city in Argentina. He was a very good mayor, and then he became president. And he has been president for the last 3 years, and Argentina is going upwards right now. Now, it doesn't mean that Trump will be the same way, but I'm just saying the fact that he's inexperienced and rich, it's actually pretty good if you think about it in those terms.
I'm willing to say this much. I think I've said this much before, and I figure Karn might disagree, but I would contend on a few points. I think that Trump has far more political experience than he's been given credit for. I come from a long line of businessmen in my family, and the thing about businessmen, especially businessmen who deal in multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar deals, not little mom-and-pop shop local deals, is that they have to wine and dine local officials, local politicians, mayors, and beyond. It may not be the same as sitting in a Senate committee meeting or
It's still politics.
It's still politics. So my grandfather actually met with the royal family of England when he worked for ran the company that he ran. Something I wish I could have benefited from in my time, but I didn't.
Did they drink tea together?
I have no idea, but I know that he did a lot of dealings with them, at least meetings with them on a one-to-one basis. And I don't know if this was specifically just to kind of smooth over certain red tape towards his company. Like, I don't know the particulars of it. All I know is that I see the family photos and I'm like, holy crap, that's a big deal. And the one thing that my grandfather and the other businessmen in the family that tried to follow in his footsteps for the most part said was, if you want to be successful in business, you need to know how to play the political field. You also need to know how to recognize talent, because you will never be good at everything that you need to get done. So you need to be able to recognize that talent in others. And everything that I've heard coming from Trump follows that mantra, is that we have the best negotiators in the world. We're not going to have political hacks. We're going to get the best businessmen in the world to do this stuff. We're not going to have these guys do this job. We're going to have these guys do this job. And even though he's saying it in a very unarticulate way, which I think is just meant to appeal to the demographics that he's trying to get to vote for him, I think he's keenly aware that he doesn't know everything and that he's going to need to pick qualified people to run the field for him.
Sarah Palin is on his cabinet list.
Really?
Yes. That came out today, actually. That was on the Philip DeFranco show, and I'm like, oh my god.
Is it a definitive thing?
What for? What for? First off,
I don't remember. I'd have to.
But
if you want to play the video,
But she was one of the candidates. But he's already picked.
He's got a list, right, of the people he's going to pick for various positions. So I think there's 3 that he has for each of his cabinets, right, that he's looking at, and none of the ones I'm like, this is all looking bad.
The one that I did like was, I don't know if you know the guy, Trey Gowdy. He's being considered to be for being Trump's attorney general. He's the guy that was trying to prosecute from Congress the whole Hillary thing with the emails and shit, interrogating the FBI guys. I don't know if you know about the guy, but he's pretty awesome.
Okay, hold on.
Well, I mean, that's another thing,
Hold on,
too.
I'm looking up the list now.
That's another thing, too, that really, really just destroyed any credibility for me, but from the DNC and their side is this lady that they've picked and pushed to the top is there's no question. She was subpoenaed to give things, in this case, emails. She deleted them. And then, when she was going to get in trouble for that, she smashed the hardware. Like, this. They want to talk about Banana Republic? Yeah. That sounds a little like Banana Republic to me. Like, that's craziness.
But don't you know there was a conspiracy between Trump and Putin?
That's right.
That was, oh my god, that was so painful to watch.
And
Like,
if
every time that they would point out the email thing, she would be like, but Putin and Trump, they will get along. Like, bitch, that's a good thing. What do you want to go to World War III, you retard? What the fuck?
yeah,
This is Russia we're talking about. This is not Afghanistan. They will kick your ass. Even if you win, you still lose. You know what I mean? Like, even if you win against the Russians, you don't want to go to war with Russia, trust me. Like, you don't.
No. I've gained actually. Well, I've learned about this guy over the last several months. I've actually gained some respect for him. He again is not my ideal candidate, but I think people they judge him without knowing the guy. It's very slanted.
I'm not even talking from a principled standpoint now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking from a survival.
Yeah. With Russia? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't care if the guy is a war criminal. For all I know, he is. Asking you Ukrainian, they will tell you what's on their mind about him. But you don't want to go to war with this guy. He's not gonna back down if you go to war with him.
No.
You can. Putin's the type of guy that I think that you can outmaneuver him if you get there first and you outmaneuver him. But once he's outmaneuvered you and you decide just to knock him back, then you're in real trouble.
He's an ex-KGB. It's not like the guy is gonna be like, oh, I'm scared of the US. He's gonna be, he's gonna be scared.
Well, you must like him because you're saying things about him that sound respectful in some way.
I have to say this to Karn. Karn, I will eat my words if what I'm reading about Sarah Palin being tapped for the cabinet is true.
I'm looking up the list right now. So, okay. For Attorney General, we have Chris Christie, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Senator Jeff Sessions, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Are you kidding me?
Giuliani might not be a lot of people's favorite, but he does have qualifications for some specific skills.
Yeah, I think he was a good mayor.
He was also the most hated mayor prior to 9/11, and then he came out and said, "Oh, I don't know about a worse attack on American soil." And they're like, "Are you serious? You were mayor at the time."
Oh yeah. Besides that time.
Okay. Agricultural Secretary is Governor Sam Brownback. National Council of Farmer Cooperative CEO Chuck Cornor. Gov Dave Heineman. Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller. Former Georgia Gov Sonny Perdue. It sounds very familiar, but anyone on that list. But for Secretary of Education, Ben Carson, William Evers. For Secretary of Energy, he's got Robert Grady and Harold Hamm. He wants Newt Gingrich for Health and Human Services, or Ben Carson, or Rich Bagger. No, okay, for Secretary of Health, I can maybe see Ben Carson.
Yeah, me too.
He wants Newt Gingrich or Rick Scott. For Homeland Security, he wants Sheriff David Clark.
Oh, really?
Christie.
Yeah, I like that sheriff.
I do like him. He's got tenacity. I like him.
Is that the black sheriff I keep seeing pop
with the
up?
cowboy hat.
Okay.
Did you ever see him go against the feminists? It's so funny.
No, I haven't. So you're gonna have to link me sometime.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, for Secretary of Interior, he has Brewer, Fallen, Grady, Ham, Forrest Lucas, Cynthia Loomis, and Sarah Palin.
Yeah, see, and Sarah Palin's probably at the bottom of the list because the Secretary of Interior deals with hold on.
Interior things.
No,
Maybe she's going to be an interior decorator.
They
She's in charge of the interior decoration.
they deal with the management and conservation of federal land and natural resources. So, drill, baby, drill.
If he picks her, he's going to suffer more than anyone because he's going to have to talk to her all the time.
Right.
Hey, hey, Donald. Hey,
No,
Donald.
he's gonna make the vice president do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Secretary of Defense is Mike Flynn, Stephen Hadley, Duncan Hunter Jr. What?
Now, when did this list come out?
Today, Jim Talent, and for Secretary of State, John Bolton, Bob Croker, Gingrich, and then for Treasurer, he's got Jeb Hensarling, Carl Icahn, Stephen Munichin. Almost looks like Munchkin.
I wish
to be. Does it say who's gonna be the press secretary?
Hold on. No.
You know who'd be perfect for that? You know who'd be perfect for press secretary? Clint Eastwood.
No. You know the guy?
James Woods.
Oh, yes, I know of him, yes.
That would be fantastic.
James Woods.
James Woods, yeah.
Be played by Kevin Bacon.
So
management and budget, he's got Sessions. For Secretary of Labor, he's got EOC Commissioner Victoria Lipnick. Wow, that's something you can make fun of easily. Veterans Affairs is Jeff Miller, and Donald McGahn for White House Counsel.
You know who he should put in charge of his Secret Service is Adam Baldwin.
Well, Adam Baldwin, he's not racist, but his thumbs are.
But his thumbs.
And I lost another follower.
Dude lost another follower.
Story of my life.
Yeah. That's okay. I seem to get it. So you don't have actually, maybe I have to click on this. Okay, I'm putting the thing in the sidebar for the comments. That's the list if you want to post it or put it up or what the fuck ever.
Okay.
I'll put it in the show notes maybe when we're done. Hey, I want to play something for you guys. I don't know if the sound. I don't normally play videos on this thing.
It sounds sucky.
What's that?
I can't hear a thing. It sounds sucky.
What sounds sucky?
Your video.
Oh, well, that's because I'm not playing it yet.
Well, that would be why, now, wouldn't it?
All right, let's see here. It's going to take a second to figure out what it's doing. And I'll put it to everyone. All right. Okay.
For a video, it ain't moving.
All right. This is copyright stuff, and they keep taking it down. But can you hear that?
No.
Nope.
Dang it. There's got to be a way that I'm doing this wrong. I've tried playing a video.
You're doing it. Look, okay, dude, this is what you have to do. First of all, you have to play it in a separate window, right? And so don't use the Google Hangouts, right? So you have it in a second window, and then you play it into your mic.
I play it into the mic. Oh, just like the sound?
Yeah, the sound's got to play from so I've got my TV hooked up to my computer, right?
Okay.
So my TV plays, so it doesn't go through my headphones, and then it's picked up by my mic, right? And then that's how I'm able to do It's actually Brian who showed me how to do that, from Honey Badgers.
Okay, but then won't it cause a feedback? That makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to have to unplug our headset here.
It doesn't for me. You can see plenty of my videos where I do that, where I play YouTube videos now. Yeah, so Brian from Honey Badgers, he came all the way down from Chicago to the Mix-Up Meetup in Ohio, right? The Hannah Wallen set up down for the Dayton area. And, he told me how to do this so that I could play it. Also, I beat everyone at Cards versus Humanity.
Alrighty, so
I got double what everybody else did. That was cool.
Yeah. So are you sure it's not going to give me feedback? It's really weird. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it should.
All right.
It doesn't on mine.
Why don't you just? Oh, okay.
Present to everyone. All right, audience. Let's see if we just destroy your sound here.
Just remember to pause it every 20 seconds.
Yeah, can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Anyways, you get the sense.
Yeah, we've seen this.
There was a 3-hour loop of it.
Dude, I've got a 10-hour loop that I keep playing of You've Gone Full Macintosh.
Nice. Okay, question to everyone. Election results aside, is anyone else pissed off that these fucking assholes are protesting and burning the American flag this close to Remembrance Day?
It's exactly what some of my liberal friends were saying, that, well, at least our guys don't do X, 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 and Y, you know. Now they're doing exactly what they said they don't do.
Yeah, like my counter question, if you will, is anyone surprised?
I'm not surprised. I'm not even sure how to feel about it.
I don't feel anything towards it. I don't get outraged at burning the American flag. You know, the Penn and Teller did this great bit on the West Wing where they burn the American flag, and the guy from the White House is like, we need to know if you actually burned the American flag or if this was like a trick. He goes, it doesn't matter. And he like gives this great explanation, and he's completely right. And the one they do on stage, they pull out the Constitution from the burned flag.
When I discuss these issues, if I take issue with it, it's not that they're burning something that's actually physically sacred. I address their attitudes. A lot of times, with the stuff that they're promoting is bullshit, and it's toxic, poisonous nonsense.
Yep.
Did you hear that they're pushing in California for independence? They want to become independent because their president.
Oh man, I would love to see them try. They would starve out in a month.
Hey, do you think Mexico would be allowed to?
Well, they have a lot of food that they produce themselves, and they can always buy it from China, like the rest of the country does.
But
they just can't get corn.
But what if their population took a vote on referendum as to whether to join Mexico?
Well, actually, one of the things a lot of Republicans in that state are trying to do is get it so it's blocked off, right? So because 3 million people in that state voted for Trump. Now that's 33% of the I think it was like 33% of the voters, right? Hillary Clinton got the majority of it, but that's 3 million votes. So like,
is it winner take all for those 55 electoral?
Yes.
Wow, that's a massive.
So they're saying, yeah. But then the same thing can be said for Texas.
Yeah, they're okay. So if they're mad right now, what they should be doing is sitting down and going, listen, we need to reform the electoral system for the next election. That I can understand.
Well, they've been saying that since Al Gore, because Al Gore won the popular vote and the electorals, and then Bush cheated. I mean, they were throwing out votes just because they were from a black neighborhood.
Well,
are you fucking kidding?
They can modernize their system, but it's going to have to be bipartisan reform. You can't just
yeah. Well, we did that here in Ohio. We redistrict things, right? And this was a bipartisan. The Republicans and the Democrats both wanted to do it because they said it would be more honest and more fair, right?
Yeah. Well,
so we did, and everybody voted on it.
I'm of the opinion that the reason that there's so much evidence going on about tampering and screwing around with the laws during this election, and probably it's just going to get worse, is because people aren't seeing anyone go to jail over it. I think if you have these laws and they protect democracy, you need to use them.
Well, it's interesting you say that because during the last couple elections, they were talking about the Republicans were the ones who were because the voting machines were made by Jeb Bush's friends, right, and business partners, and And
Well,
they were
that's
talking about how the power went out, and then all of a sudden, like, it goes, I mean, it was going hardcore for the Democrats, and all of a sudden, power goes out, power comes back on, and all these votes are now for the Republicans. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, so supposedly Anonymous put a stop to them hacking the voting thing for the last election when Barack Obama ran the second term.
Well, if you go into, okay, so they have these under Veritas, they have these cameras. During the voting period, they went into, I think it was in Philadelphia, they go in there and they play dumb. They're like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. And so they give them information on the different candidates, which already, he said, is against the law there. They're not allowed to do that. But you know what? Maybe they're just, in that case, they're just ignorant. But they kept pushing. They're just like, look, who should I vote for? I don't know who I should vote for. And eventually the lady goes, vote for Hillary. Yeah, go in there and vote for Hillary. She's running the booths. Like, she's in, like, that is definitely against the law.
Well, if she kept on pushing the person, right, then
no, I would say he kept prompting. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much he prompts. She should always say, listen, I can't tell you. Even if he says it 100 times, maybe she eventually go like, listen, if you keep saying, I have other stuff to do, or whatever, but she can never say, just vote for so-and-so, get in there and get out of here. That's common sense. I don't think you should.
Well, I don't know, because the way you're describing it makes it sound like the person's asking for advice from that particular person. If that's the case, then I would say, yeah, to who to vote for. So then, at that point, I don't see anything wrong with that.
What?
Yeah.
Holy fuck! No, you don't see anything wrong with that?
No, if you're repeatedly, constantly asking someone who should I vote for, specifically one person rather than a panel.
How about this? It's a federal crime.
I don't know, dude. Okay, first of all, it's also a crime to take a picture in some states of who you're voting for.
Right, but this one is so that people are not influencing. I also agree there shouldn't be laws against taking a selfie of yourself with a higher.
Well,
that's
even
ridiculous.
though it takes only 10 seconds, you're still holding up the line, and that adds up.
When people
for anything.
Okay, so Karen, the principle of how this functions is the people who are running the booth are supposed to act neutral. So as soon as they say under any circumstances who you should vote for, they're partisan and they're taking part in trying to sway votes. That's why you can't allow it.
In that case, I would have rolled the dice. I'd have been like,
yeah, here, take this dice
Hillary.
and roll it, and we'll assign a number.
No. I would have rolled it if it was like even Hillary, if it's odd Trump, like 3, okay, yeah. Hillary.
Yeah. And maybe
they're very strict with these things. Actually, there was a guy with a Black Lives Matter T-shirt on one of the booths, and he was kicked out because someone denounced him that that is kind of a partisan T-shirt, although it's not a Hillary T-shirt. Black Lives Matter support Hillary, so indirectly it is.
Yeah.
But going back to the Mexico thing, I like to argue with people on the internet, of course, and especially now. And there was one of these Hillary supporters, the typical, I want to move to Canada or whatever. And I'm like, I'm in Canada. You can come if you want, but I'm just wondering, why don't you go to Mexico, right? And I know it's so.
It's a very good point,
especially if it's closer.
No, and it's a fallacy because whatever you can move to whatever you want. It's an implicit accusation of racism, and I know that it is. But that's all they do all the time.
I would borrow that, dude. I'm taking that.
So I'm like, why don't you go to Mexico? And she goes like, well, I don't speak Spanish. Well, they don't speak English and they come to the U.S. Why don't you go to Mexico? and she's like, well, you're in Canada. Why don't you go to Mexico? Oh, because Mexico is a shithole. I don't want to go. And I can say openly, I don't care what you think about me. You're the one pretending to be a saint. I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah.
Well, actually, your argument should have been because I'm not complaining about the place I currently live. Yeah. You're the one complaining. You're the one who wants to move.
My favorite argument recently has been there's been a couple of these on Facebook where people are like, if you voted for Trump, you have to explain to all your friends who are LGBT and people of color and Muslims, blah, 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 blah. You have to explain to them why they don't matter. And then...
Okay, you guys are going to love this. At my church... Right before you walked in to the main, like where the reverend gives his sermon or whatever, they handed all of us a piece of paper and a pencil. So a member of the council, he says, okay, so, today we're going to do, like, confessions are a very important thing. Like, we're not Catholic, so we don't really have a confession booth or anything. But what we're going to do is you can anonymously write down your confession, and then they read them out loud, right?
We'll bring him to the Church of Scientology and file him away.
One person's confession was, "I'm voting for Trump."
Ultimate.
And this is like the most liberal church there is.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I can't even believe that would be considered sinful.
The next day.
Not sinful. He's just confessing it.
There's no forgiveness for that sin. He should have known that before he confessed.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard I heard that, like, because we had our 60th anniversary for the church, right? And I was talking to someone, and someone says, actually, there's someone in this church who's voting for. I talked to a guy who's voting for Trump, and I said, now that's the guy I want to talk to, because that's a different opinion.
Yeah.
But
so not to like brainwash him or but to find out why, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm curious, especially in this church.
right. Anyways, back to the point I was trying to make there. My one friend who kept arguing with me about LGBTQ and trans people and people of color and gay rights and all this stuff. I just said, you do know that blacks overwhelmingly vote against marriage equality, like more than whites, right? Wow, did that ever make her? That made her so fucking mad. I'm just like, I'm like, most of the people voting against.
But they're owned by the left. They're owned by the left, so they are not allowed to do that anymore.
Right.
With someone like
gays are blacks.
With someone like you, Karen, I know I can talk reasonably, and even though we disagree probably on Hillary or whatever, right? But some of the Hillary supporters are hilarious.
Yeah.
And
whoa, hold on. I got to correct you on something.
Yeah.
One, I am not a Hillary supporter. I was anti-Donald Trump.
Oh, okay, fine. Some of the anti-Trump people are, unlike you, they are hilarious to troll, right? And and it's so easy because and you know what? I like to make people happy. So when they accuse me of rape, I just give them the pleasure. So or when they so one of them was it 2 days ago. She was like, gloating about how Hillary was gonna win. I couldn't find her today, but I will. Don't worry. But anyways, so she was asking me, so if you were American, you say that you would vote for Trump. Why would you do that? This was after like fucking 10 pages of accusations from her, whatever. So I'm just like, because I would like to make America great again. And then she's like, you just admit it, you're a racist, right? And I'm like, I'm not a racist, I just don't like niggers.
Oh, no. Did that make them feel very righteous that they were able to respond?
You know what? I just wanted her to be at ease, like she couldn't confront the truth that is that, no, not every Trump supporter is a racist, whatever. So whatever, just
this
let me be happy, whatever.
There's some really stereotypical or fixed way of thinking. The idea in the States is that if you go down south, every white person there says nigger, hates black people. If you go up north, those people are more sophisticated, right? That is not my experience as a truck driver. The only time, well, maybe there was more that I didn't notice, but the only times I noticed someone outright saying to me the word nigger was in New York State, Pennsylvania, Ohio, right? New Jersey.
Yeah, I know. I believe you in the Ohio part. Like, there's a lot of racist white people. My uncle's one of them. This guy's legitimately racist because, like, I don't even understand why. Like, his IQ's not really up there, and he doesn't seem to be able to think for himself. And he's been poor most of his life, right? And he blames that on black people. I'm like, dude, really? I think maybe it has more to do with the choices you made in life, like never going to school, never learning to read, shit like that.
Yeah. But just these assumptions. After the election, I was saying to some people, there's a variety of people on the left that I know, but I've been trying to explain to them because some of them were calling me, basically a mean person because I was playing Trump dancing and stuff on my social feeds. And I was trying to explain to them, like, look, you guys need to understand what's backfired here. You need to start understanding that people don't like being called all these names. And then some of them, like clockwork, would call me names.
Yeah.
I think of that.
Go ahead.
They can't see you start talking over there.
No, I know. I think back to that scene from the movie Labyrinth with Jennifer Connelly, right at the end when she goes, you have no power over me, right? They calling me these names has no power over me now. All right, I have been for the last 18 months that I have been at least defending Trump from the attacks that aren't true.
Yeah,
I have been called everything under the sun, and it literally has no power over me anymore.
and some of them are not true.
Some of them are not true. Some of them are not true. I am a rape apologist. I apologize every time I commit a rape.
Yeah. Almost every time.
It's funny.
I
get called shit all the time, and they try to shame me, right? Right, like with all these like hate words and shit. It's like,
Shame,
bitch,
yeah.
I know who I am. You cannot shame me. I am shameless.
Right. Okay. So you say that, and you know who you are, right? And I just said, and I was joking, by the way, in case anyone needs to know, I'm not a rapist that you know of. But imagine I ran for public office 10 years from now, and people pulled up the Apostasy Now podcast and the Apostasy Now YouTube channel, and they heard all of the horrible shit I say, because I say horrible shit. I know I do, but I do it on purpose because I don't give a fuck about people's feelings when I'm doing this.
Right.
When I'm doing my job and I have to give a shit about people's feelings, I give a shit about their feelings.
Right.
But right here, we're not talking about the people I'm dealing with on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, no, hold on. Let's get real for a second.
All right.
You care about those people's feelings as long as those feelings have at least some reasonable justification.
Right.
Right. Yes.
So if someone's being completely irrational and throwing a hissy fit and demanding the most unreasonable shit from you, you're gonna stop caring. Like
Right.
that bitch who walks into the iPhone store, right? Demands that they give her a free new phone. Right?
Yep.
And then when they ask her if she wants insurance on the phone, she goes, no, it's just a scam and blah, blah, blah. Right? So they're not getting paid anything for the phone. They make off a commission. So they're not getting shit from the phone, right? From giving her this phone. It's just a pure customer service at this point. She walks out of the store, after grabbing her $600 smartphone in a cheap plastic bag, and she's swinging around. She goes to leave, and it slides right out of her bag and cracks. The screen instantly cracks. Good thing you didn't get that scam thing, because you'd be covered now. She walked right back in and demanded a new phone to be paid for. He's like, no, you didn't get the insurance. I was sitting right here while you didn't get the insurance, and it cracked the moment you stepped out of here. That's on you. And she's like losing her shit.
Yeah, that's not his problem.
Yeah, at that
point,
point, he doesn't need to care about her.
I
He cared about her when she first came in, right? Even though she was demanding and angry, and he was still being, diligent in his customer service. And she was rude as fuck the whole time, and then she demands more shit the moment her bad choices fall back on her.
Yeah, it's a lot of times it's projection. The people who say things like, you're so entitled all the time are entitled. They feel entitled. Right? Even just the fact that they get to call you names because...
Well, you're entitled enough to call me entitled.
Yeah.
Why do you get entitlement to call me entitled?
That scene comes to my mind from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah. I personally, though, like I said, I know who I am, and I know I'm not any of these things.
You didn't say that. I said that.
You're right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I I wonder if somebody like Trump has that same sense of himself. I know I'm not any of these things. I know who I am.
Well, the left needs to reform itself. The old guard, it needs to be broken and taken out. And the irony, I've already said this on Facebook. I did a little video trying to respond to some people. The new guard, like to rejuvenate themselves and turn themselves into a viable, growing political entity again, are mostly held up in all those Bernie supporters that, though they're naive, their enthusiasm is what the party's going to need as it goes through transformation and new ideas.
Until they correct the balance.
They violated their own principles. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're getting at, right?
Well, and they need to correct the balance of perspective in academia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, having 70, 80, 90% liberal campuses does not give you any diversity of thought.
More than 90%.
Some
Yeah,
more
I
than
thought it was
90.
absolutely horrible what happened to Milo at that one. They made him pay $2,000 for extra security, and then they never fucking protected him.
Yeah.
I would have sued if I were that Republican student council or whatever it was. I would have
I think
sued
they
for the
did.
money back. Good.
Yeah, and
He actually Milo sued for that money back, and the Republican and they filed a suit against the Republican whatever committee thing that's part of the school. They sued the school too.
Good.
So, no one can tell the future, but one of the things that
I can't.
the left has come to assume they get the black votes, that they assume they get all the gay votes,
Yeah.
that they assume they get all these different little sections. votes,
Milo proved that wrong.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say is when I think Trump met personally with Milo at one point, when we were like a photo op and stuff, it's like, okay, so if this guy is going to hate gay people so much, first of all, his track record as an employer does not show that.
No.
Right?
His track record of an employer doesn't show that he hates gays, women, any minority.
People of color, I think, is the term, which is so weird because colored people used to be like this horrible term, and then now the left is calling them people of color. It's like,
Well, I think it's funny because
just reversed it. That's all you did.
back in the 90s, right? There was this comedian. He goes, look, when you're sick, you're green. When you're cold, you're blue. When you're this color. When you're baby, you're pink. When I was born, I was black. When I'm sick, I'm black. When I'm cold, I'm black. And you have the nerve to call me colored?
I think it was Chris Rock.
No, it wasn't Chris Rock, but it was a black comedian.
The Andorians call us pink skin, so that's a little more accurate. Fine, I'll help you, pink skin.
I thought it was the midi-chlorians.
You're jumping to the other franchise. They haven't turned them into one franchise yet because Disney hasn't bought the other one yet.
Okay, so if I'm green on one side and I'm black and white on the other side, but somebody is different colored on the opposite sides, you don't get that at all.
Oh,
that's original Star Trek.
Yeah. Don't you see the difference? He is black on the right side and white on the left side. I am white on the right side and
no, he was green. I'm pretty sure they were green.
No, black and white.
Yeah. And they end up destroying their whole planet, and then the last two guys kill each other on the bridge. Yeah.
No, they beamed down.
What a progressive, ahead of its time, that message.
It's natural selection at any rate.
Yeah, but they need to fix the balance of power in academia. They need to get rid of, or at least bring to heel the social sciences. I just finished a 3-year stint in college. I'm not a bachelor's degree. I'm not a master's degree. I'm not claiming any sort of expertise, but I got enough to know that the feminist and social justice bias of the social sciences is all encompassing, because they tell you just enough of what you need to know to have at least a little bit of difference in perspective, and then as soon as you start to get an idea of the difference between textbook and application, they start cramming that feminist dogma right down your throat.
Yeah.
And I still intend to do a sequence of videos about at least one of my textbooks, if not a few of them, but one of them was just pure propaganda.
Yeah, I questioned things in my history textbook, and the history teacher She went ape shit, and this was a college course. I'm like, this is the first, like she says, you cannot use arguments from authority in here. I said, first of all, I didn't. I'm talking about a textbook I had in the 9th grade, which disagrees with this textbook. So please explain to me why one textbook is less or more valid than the other. And second of all, you just then said that you had 15 years in experience, even though I put up credible sources of information, and I'm just supposed to trust you. Like, I still have the email somewhere. It was fucking ridiculous. Everything she did was like one logical fallacy over another. And she said, well, we're not tolerating these logical fallacies, and then fucking uses them.
Right. And I experience this every day. One of my professors, very nice lady, I didn't have a problem with her as a person, tried to conflate critical theory with critical thinking. Right. Right. So basically this social justice offshoot of feminism is the right way to look at things. To look at it through this lens is to be a critical thinker.
No.
Right. But this is what
critical thinking is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, so I took issue with that in a lot of classes, and I actually did a presentation in that class about domestic violence against men. Not a very popular presentation, I'll give you that. I got very, 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 very low student grade returns because
this actually goes to the I want to say honor, but there's a different word I'm trying to use for my teacher, because in my communications class, I did 2 speeches. My first speech, which was, this is like public speaking, but they now call it communications. I did one on feminism. Feminism is a hate group. And the teacher identified as a feminist. And I got an A on the speech.
Oh, wow.
And I got an A for the speech on the wage gap myth.
Huh.
So I gave full, but he actually proved my point without realizing it, because I was talking about how women choose not to go back to work after having kids, right? Even in cases where they can make more money than their husbands. And he was in that scenario. He was like, well, I can make more money than my wife can make more money than I can if she was, out in the field, but she's raising her kids at the moment because, and I'm needing to pay for, these private, schools so my kids have good education, because the public school system has gone so far, below grade. And I'm like, well, if your wife can be making more money, then why isn't she and you staying at home? Because we just talked about stay-at-home dads too. And he goes, well, we had that conversation lots and lots of times over. And I'm like, yeah, she doesn't want to fucking work. I didn't say this to him, but it's clearly obvious at this point that she doesn't want to work. So instead of being, the responsible one and doing a job she doesn't want to do to pull in more money so they can afford to send their kids to a good educational school, right? And so they're not, pinching pennies to do so. He's having to take several jobs, in which case he's working harder and making less money. Right. So this goes right back to women doing jobs that they prefer to do while taking in less money, and men working jobs they don't want to do to make more money. Because it comes down to priorities. Do I want to be happy, or do I want to be slightly richer?
Right.
So men usually take up the mantle and become the workhorse in order to provide for the family, and then they get shit on for not washing some dishes after he's changed the oil in the car and cleaned out all the leaves from the gutter. But, he should help sweeping up the floor and stuff after he's done mowing the lawn.
I was looking for a quote. I'm listening to an audiobook right now, going through different philosophers, and it's in the Nietzsche area right now, Friedrich Nietzsche.
But I thought philosophers had to have a name that began with the letter S.
Socrates?
Schopenhauer.
Spoleto?
You don't get that reference, do you? That went over your head.
It did go over my head.
That's Monty Python, man.
Really?
You just lost a nerd card.
Wow.
Don't you remember the dungeon and the meaning of life? The Hawaiian dungeon?
The what dungeon?
The Hawaiian dungeon. They had a restaurant that had a Hawaiian dungeon theme.
Oh, I don't remember. It's been years since I watched that one. The meaning of life. That's the one where the guy gets really fat and explodes from food.
Yeah.
Fuck off! I'm full.
Also, the one where like the meaning of life, part 1.
Oh, right.
The doctors are in there. She goes. What do I do? What do I do? Nothing. You're not qualified. Guy walks in, says, so what kind of thing are we performing today? He goes, we are performing a birth. He goes, what sort of thing is that? He goes, that's where we pull a baby out of a woman's tummy. He goes, wonderful what we can do nowadays.
Nice.
Anyways, there's a lot in philosophy actually about it's very counter feminism from a lot of great thinkers talking about even in ancient times there were people who wanted to make men and women exactly the same. It is absolutely impossible. It goes against, if you really stop and become objective about it, that makes no sense at all. Why on earth would we take male and female in a biological species and decide they're exactly the same? And I think Nietzsche, if I remember correctly from earlier today, he even goes into how, a woman will never be satisfied. She might think, like, if she's the one that's in charge and she's the one that's making money, that she's going to think that she's happy, but she's actually going to be really upset because you're not manly enough for her, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he's been called misogynist, of course, because of his views. And maybe he was, I don't know. But the stuff that I
No, but you're absolutely right there, and that's been proven time and time and time again. They talk about all these really intelligent women who can't find boyfriends, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, people hate smart women. No, man, I get turned on by smart women. But the problem is that these women aren't smart, they're just educated. And people don't realize that there's a significant difference between being highly educated and being highly intelligent.
Yep.
Right? Because you can know a lot of shit, like Ben Carson's literally a neurosurgeon, right?
Yep.
Okay, but he says a lot of stupid shit.
Yes, he does.
So, like, if he was smart, he'd know not to say that stupid shit.
Well, I mean, smart in what way, right? That's the thing. He's not. It's what they.
Well, they say book smart, but again, that's just educated.
The Dunning-Kruger effect, right? That's the mistake is when you think that your expertise in one area, you believe it gives you expertise in other areas that it doesn't. Right? That's when it becomes a problem.
Unless of course you're James Brown.
Unless you're James Brown.
Yeah, don't you know anything about James Brown?
I know he's got a brand new bag.
Well, so here's the thing, right? He's a singer, not a musician. But whenever he had his bands, he treated every instrument like it was a drum, right? And he's a fucking genius at this stuff, right? And he had his band rehearsing, and he's like, you hit it. It's a guitar. You don't hit it. He's like, no, you do. And like the movie about him, I think they do him perfectly. I think they do him damn well perfectly. And a lot of this was pulled from people who actually known him and actual real events. Not too far different from Find Me Guilty, if you've ever seen that movie.
I believe I vaguely remember it.
Right. So they pulled as many true facts as they could, from my understanding, for this movie. And he was taking his knowledge from one kind of musical instrument, right, and applying it to all of them, right, saying that the philosophy was there, you just needed to implement it properly. And he made shit tons of money because he didn't listen to anybody. He had his own genius, and he took it to every area of his life. The problem was, though, he was too much of an ego fucking maniac, and that was his downfall.
Well, high testosterone, risk-taking, and all that stuff, right?
Well, it's one thing if it's risk-taking. It's another if you're going to basically attack your best and most loyal friend that you've had for over decades because you can't listen to him.
Yeah, but this happens
Because you
to
think he's challenging.
this happens to people. I don't know if it's just people who are smart or if there's a particular combination of factors that goes into it. But if you look into, I don't know, the history of Sigmund Freud and his relationships,
With heroin?
Pardon me?
With heroin?
No, not with heroin. With his personal relationships.
I thought that was his personal relationships. He did enough to kill a horse, man.
It was cocaine. It was cocaine.
Oh, was it? Yeah, okay, cocaine.
Yeah.
I always get those two confused. I don't do drugs.
Oh, well, that's good.
When I say I don't do drugs, I mean I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do PCP, I don't do Advil, I don't do you name it, I don't do it.
Vaccines?
No vaccines.
Oh, no vaccines?
No vaccines.
Okay,
Vaccines are
we're not shaking
nasty.
hands.
Oh, that's true, but not because I'm not vaccinated, but because I have severe OCD.
Oh,
My
really?
hands are cleaner than yours. Yeah, trust me. I've washed my hands like 80 times today.
Oh, wow. No, but Sigmund Freud, he was terrible in personal relationships. Specifically, if anyone who kind of came around to his way of thinking, or were considered his students, if they turned on him or they created a divergent theory from his.
Oh, like what's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember the guys right now. Was that Jung? Yeah. Then man, he'd shit all over him.
Yeah, just
shit all over him.
Carl Jung,
shit. What was his name? What's the behavioral therapist guy?
Are you talking about you?
No. Sigmund Freud had a friend that he was working with that went to behavioral psychology. It wasn't Skinner. It was something along those lines, though.
It wasn't B.F. Skinner.
I just had to show you guys this.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's been posted all over fucking Twitter.
It makes me happy. It makes me happy to see it.
Who is that person?
That's Donald Trump.
No, it's supposed to be Donald Trump. Who is that person?
No, that's him. He was dancing on a stage. They got him, and then somebody photoshopped it. Like
They've been posting pictures of his wife being naked too.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so am I. But it is.
What a tragedy! A hot, naked first lady. Oh, America's gonna be so disappointed.
Another kind of weird though. Wait, it is kind of weird though to think like at any time you can do a basic Google search and see the first lady naked. Like, what other country has that?
France.
All right, you got me on that one.
I'm not gonna see all the guys in America are like, this is an outrage when they're out in public, right? Around their wife or whatever. And then, yeah, this is the best ever.
Right, but the hypocrisy again of progressives on this one. They're like, oh, you should never slut shame. A woman's body is her choice. And then they show naked pictures of her. What a fucking classless whore. Like, what?
That one really blew my mind. I'm like, this is just plain stupid. Like, you guys must know that you're being stupid, right? Like that.
It's not even stupid. It's the hypocrisy of it. It's like, okay, if she was 400 pounds and putting herself out there, you'd be like, oh, go girl, she's empowered.
Beautiful.
You're not allowed to slut shame unless you don't agree with my particular political opinions.
Right. Like Donald Trump got 7% more of the black vote, 11% more of the Asian vote, and I think like 9 or 10% more of the Latino vote over Mitt Romney. Like he got an increase in those demographics.
It's going to continue. I think those trends will continue.
Well, if he does a good job.
No, I think it's a natural diversification because they treat them all like these people all think the same. But I think they're diversifying as equality and opportunity begins to become available. I think it's natural. Like,
okay.
Okay. 1 second.
I got it. All right, now.
Hey.
Yeah.
I need to get going because something came up. I'm sorry for that.
No problem, man. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having me, Dragon, and take care, guys.
Yeah, you have a good one.
Yep. Okay, so I got it. If you could ask Donald Trump one thing, what would you ask him?
Oh, what would you ask him?
What would I ask him?
So, well, this is a difficult one. If this is different than what I would say to him. Like if I was going to ask him something, I don't know what he'd answer. So it's kind of a weird exercise. But I might ask him what he's, just off the record, what he thinks is the most important aspect of American society. Like what is the principal most important thing to be defended or built up? Like off the record, as opposed to making a speech or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, that's a hard one because I have a bunch of questions for him.
Okay, I'll put it this way: a question he has to ask honestly.
Answer honestly. Yeah. That'd be nice. You can he's lying if he gets electrocuted. There's like a thing hooked up to him.
Will you pardon Manning, Snowden, and go to bat for Assange?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who Snowden is.
Private Manning was the one who leaked some documents. He blew the whistle, and then he became a woman while in federal prison.
Yeah. Assange,
military prison.
WikiLeaks fella.
Yeah, and Assange is WikiLeaks.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have any direct political power or authority to pardon Assange. That's why I said, would he go to bat for him?
And one of the most important condemnations by the American public, and I think rightly so, that's evident from this election, is how off the polls were. Now, maybe they were really rigged and they did it really crooked, but I think much more likely what happened is that people just stopped talking to them. If they were going to vote for Trump, they just didn't tell them.
I would.
And so there's such a bad and broken relationship now between the public and the media that they can't even get relevant information.
That's true. I would ask him how he felt about Milo referring to him as daddy. That was weird and all sorts of creepiness. I was wondering how he felt about that, but it did definitely help him get some votes.
I think he'd love it.
And I want to know how, because he never publicly said anything about it. He kind of ignored that whole thing. And that photo shoot you were talking about was up here in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
With him and Donald Trump.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
that was at the Republican National Convention.
Milo is a really good example. Well, he's more extreme, but he's a good example of the diversification. He's a gay guy who votes conservative. He was for Trump, right? He argues with people in the trans community quite often. And even though he tends to be an upstart, he's also a Catholic.
Is he really?
Oh yeah.
He's definitely they try to claim that he's racist and a white nationalist, right? He goes, "All my boyfriends are black. I got more black in me than you did."
Somewhere in a room, there's
I don't care about race. I care about culture.
Yeah. Well, and I like his presentation. In some ways, he does remind me of that potential of people I really respect. Usually I get to know them after either they've died or they've been in their prime. I think he's only I don't think he's even 30, is he?
No, he's in his 30s.
Early 30s, right?
Yeah.
Still, he's taking off very quickly.
Old enough to drop out of college twice.
Yeah, that's right. Once, oh yes, that also is wonderful. He dropped out of Oxford and Cambridge, so at least he dropped out of notable places.
Right.
I dropped out of a community college, but at least I have a fucking degree now. Yeah.
Well, one of the
10
things,
years in the trying.
One of the things I hadn't thought until I started going through this program on philosophers is that most philosophers are not part of mainstream academia throughout history. Most of them are not. So that really was something I hadn't really considered before, that some of the people right now that are going to be the most remembered in terms of philosophy in our own era probably are not professors.
Except for Christina Hoff Sommers.
Yes. But that's until they revoke her professorship as being a woman that hates women.
Right, and they'll do the same. They'll do the same with Janice Fayamango here in Canada and Jordan B. Peterson.
That's the guy at the University of Toronto free speech dude.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm horrible with names. You got to tell me who they are. If you say their name, you got to say where they're from, because otherwise I'll be blanking.
Janice Fiamengo is outspoken. I don't know if you would call her an anti-feminist or an MRA or whatever it is, but she's worked with the
She's
Canadian.
got glasses and that long hair.
Yeah, she works
She's
with
an
the.
anti-feminist.
Yeah.
I'll say that straight up.
Yeah, definitely.
She works with the Canadian Association for Equality or something like that.
Okay.
She's a professor of literature, and she works with a number of men's groups. And
Yeah, she's in the University of Ottawa, and now she's getting pulled before the Human Rights Council or something like that for violating somebody's.
Dude, they just renamed the Ontario Human Rights Commission the Social Justice Commission.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's not putting it right out there, is it?
The field that I just graduated into, one of its core tenets is social justice. It's like number 3. So when social justice warriors tell me I don't know anything about social justice, once I've finally given up the idea that I'm actually going to do this as a profession, because I'm leaning towards just not even going into the field, I'm going to put my face right out there on camera, and then I'm going to rip into the industry as a whole, because it is toxic. It is broken.
it's double plus good.
It's double plus good. And double plus good. But yeah, the industry that I went to school to learn how to be a part of, it has potential for good, and the people who go into these courses want to do good. And that's the biggest travesty in my mind, is that all of these kids that I see protesting, as much as I laugh at them, as much as I poke fun at them, their natural capacity for compassion and empathy is being exploited for somebody else's gain.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I would sit in a class as a 37-year-old man and just shake my head when I would disagree with a point that I knew was wrong, that I could show was wrong, and still be told by a 19 or 21-year-old girl that I was wrong because textbook.
The inmates are running the asylum when it comes to.
Well, no. In this case, I think we can take a quote right out of the Bible. And I'm not much of Christian mythology, but the road to hell is paved by what?
Good intentions.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, although I really do like the TV show Lucifer. That is fucking phenomenal. It's blown my mind in like 2 episodes right in a row.
Nice.
Shit. Like, and the third one's leading up to blow my mind for the next 3 episodes.
And the worst part about my industry, and I think this would be the same for any social services or human services industry around, is what they talk about burnout. When they talk about burnout, I don't think they're talking about burnout. You know, they say, you'll only last 5 years in this industry on the streets doing whatever you're going to do. I don't believe that. I don't think that's what's happening. I think what they call burnout, I call waking up.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's another word for that. Disillusionment. They're disillusioned with the things that they're taught, right? It's the same thing that happened with the Industrial Revolution, right? All these things people thought were magical and shit got explained, and the magic went away.
Right.
The mystery went away. The things they told themselves went away, and they had to deal with the harsh reality of shit.
I think that you're right that disillusion is a part of it, but I think more so that there's a difference between learning from a textbook and experiencing real life. And when you try to categorize people into victimologies, like, so this is a people of color, this is how they're victimized, these are women, this is how they're victimized, this group is Islamophobia happens here, this is how they're victimized, these are trans people, and these are how they're victimized. And then when you get out into the real world and you try to apply that knowledge in a real situation, it doesn't fit with reality. And then you start to see that reality is not conforming to what you learned in school. And then you get confused. And then you just get worn down because nothing you know is going to help you in this situation, because what you know is bullshit.
You should give that speech in the fucking class.
I graduated, man.
Yeah, he tried to reason with them as much as he could, but it's like
I got almost thrown out of class on several occasions, especially with one teacher in particular who I argued about domestic violence with. I was able to go to the Canadian Stats Canada website and show that in a 12-month period survey, blah, 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 that the rates of domestic violence between men and women were damn near equal. And she told me, Google it, Chris. People do all of this. Yeah, Google it. And I was just like, I can do better. I can go on to the website that keeps the statistics nationally and show it to you. And then she said, they do these studies. People write their PhDs on this. So there, basically. And I just said, people do PhDs for paranormal studies. That doesn't make it valid. You know, and then she gave the class a break and she, okay, we're not going to talk about this anymore. Everyone take a break. And it was clear that there was no getting through. No getting through. You know,
I'm getting tired, guys. So we've been going for a couple hours, so I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. But
Okay.
If I could just summarize my position on how all this ties into the election, I just think that this election to me represented Americans getting tired of identity politics and rejecting it.
Mm. Is this up straight upload?
Yeah, this is live.
Oh, okay.
And when it's done, it should be available to everybody.
Cool.
Look in the top right-hand corner. There is a button that says live.
Live now.
Live from Canada. Eh?
Yeah. All right, cool. It was nice talking to you, Karin.
Yep. Right back
Yep.
at you.
And we still want to be your friend, even though you voted for Hillary.
Yeah. Neither of you have unfollowed or blocked me.
That's right. Yeah, just hang in there. Eventually, things will get better in terms of choices. I hope in 4 years, hopefully, it'll be.
I figure in a year he'll get impeached.
Anything's
He'll do
possible.
something ridiculously stupid, or like half the shit he said during the, all his debates and shit. He won't do like because he'd already taken the Islam thing off his fucking webpage.
Oh yeah.
He's going to ban Muslims from coming in the country. He's already taken that off his webpage.
Okay, well, we'll talk about this quickly before we
and he promised to protect the LGBT in his speech recently.
I'll just say this. I have nothing against someone that says they need to shut down immigration from certain regions that are specifically Muslim regions.
He didn't say certain regions. He said we're not going to allow Muslims into the country.
That's where he always makes his mistake in the sense of he's getting into politics now, is that he does not speak with exact, articulation. He just kind of blurts it out, but I mean, most of the time, the way he speaks in common person's language is very effective. Like, it's been very good to him in terms of how he connects with people. But when you're talking about high-end political sensitive issues, it often does backfire on him. But I'm just saying, as far as saying, this idea of streaming refugees in from areas where Muslims are killing each other, and they've been raised to think that, anyone who's not Muslim should be put to death, and it's on and on and on about all this shit. You know what? These people do not want to come to countries in the West because they believe in the due process of our laws or what the core principles that have made our societies free. They hate all that shit. What they want to come here for is the wealth and the opportunity. So they come here and then they secretly despise the core of how our society functions.
What's even worse to me, and
I just say not all. Obviously, not all.
Not all. What's worse for me is not that, because I don't know every Muslim. I don't. And I'm sure that many of them are fine. But our country, and in some places in the United States, I've heard questions being raised as to why are you not bringing in Syrian Christians? Where are the Syrian Christians? Where are the Syrian Christians?
Got sad brought that up when he was talking to Sam Harris.
Oh, did he?
Well,
I didn't.
Here's my question. What about Muslims from like Indonesia?
Yeah. Well,
what if they wanted to come over here and then we're told, well, no, you're Muslim, so you can't enter America. Now, I haven't heard about Indonesians like bombing the fuck and killing a whole bunch of people or throwing Muslim or gay people off of roofs.
Right, but there are. That's why I say there are different regions with different attitudes. When you're coming from a place where, for instance, anything that has Saudi Arabia's fingers on it, right? These people, it's okay. So this is another problem with the left. They want to say anyone that says that we should restrict and seriously vet people from certain parts of the world. We're bigots, we're racist, Islamophobe. Okay, so who's being more inconsiderate here or more unrealistic? When someone comes from a place where they've been raised, everyone around them is part of this community. They've adjusted to this since they were a child, where certain things are a certain way, including, in many of these places, they've seen women bludgeoned to death with fucking rocks, right? This is crazy shit by our standards, but they have adapted, grown in this environment where this is normalized. Then we expect them to come over to our country. All it's gone.
But you know what? A lot of that is also part of our responsibility.
Right, but I'm just saying.
When I say our, hold on. When I say our, I mean America's, right? Because what we did is we paid a lot of Afghanistan's, right? We paid them money and we gave them a shitload of weapons to fight off the Russians.
Right,
right? And then when all their population was below the age of 12, we wouldn't spend $1 million on a bunch of fucking schools.
Well, U.S. foreign policy has had, it's not a stainless thing. That is one set of wrongs. But the stuff with the Muslims, they have been killing each other and doing this shit without any intervention from anyone else. It's part of their religious-based culture. It spins around their religious texts. And some areas, there are areas that are Muslim that have modernized. And they don't take this shit literally. But there are other areas that take it very fucking
well. If you look at the history, you'll find that some of the Muslim cultures that you're talking about were some of the most evolved on the planet, and then for some reason they fell back.
It's not true. That was a myth that I was also taught when I was in school. It's simply completely false.
They benefited from the influx of Western thinking during the fall of Rome. They conquered a lot of the southern European regions, and then they got their hands on ancient texts and knowledge, and they benefited from it, and their culture advanced because they got their
and their elites had some level of tolerance at times for specific thinkers.
Right.
But generally speaking, they never had the golden era. What they had was military dominance.
Oh yeah, definitely military dominance.
Well, there's a number of technologies that I can show you. There's we have the word algebra, right?
Yeah.
Which is from the Muslim world, right?
Yeah, I think I heard this before.
Yeah, there's a list. Actually, Neil deGrasse Tyson actually explains where a lot of this came from. And there's a lot. There's too much to go in for. You said you're tired and that you wanted to end the show. So, I mean, unless we're going to sit here for another hour and a half.
All right, man. My face is all red because I've been working all day. I think my body's ready to shut down. But otherwise, I keep going, man. It's been great talking to you again, Karen. It's been a long time.
Yep. And you two are welcome on my show sometime. So.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.